Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, as you can see, I'm here. I'm glad to be here with my colleague Elena Velazquez, joining us from Madrid. Maybe you introduce yourself a bit, Elena, on the...
Yeah, hi everyone. I wish I was there, to be honest. I see you all there in 3D physically, and I feel a bit jealous. I'm responsible of culture, including culture, engagement, and collaboration at Amadeus. I'm based in Madrid, and I'm really honored to be with you guys today.
Okay, thanks. So we will be switching not too much, but we have certain parts of the presentation. So Elena will take over certain parts. So my name is Hans-Jürgen Sturm. I'm based here in Germany. That's why I'm here in person. And I'm working on the digital workplace services in the user experience part. So we're dealing with everything that turns around collaboration. So maybe we can switch to these slides. Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, when I traveled here, so glad to see you all arrived safely here. This morning I had my concerns because there's a strike ongoing and a lot of traffic on the streets at the moment. But my bigger challenge was more on the weekend, because I had to go out and buy a new pair of jeans. So I went to some shops in Frankfurt. If you know Frankfurt, there are quite a lot of them. So I had already to make my choice there where to go. And then in the shop, it's always overwhelming. Yeah, you go there, you try to select a trouser, and then you have the different brands. Maybe you have a certain, you think about the price, etc. And then you look at it, you have modern fit and regular fit and whatever. So it makes, for me, it's overwhelming, and it makes very difficult for me to make the choice here. And at the end, I bought one, but my criteria, when I thought back, what were my criteria to choose? It was, I was feeling comfortable in these jeans. Yeah, I was looking at a brand that I know already before, so I had a certain experience with this brand. And of course, there was also the price. So at the end, all this context was made of decisions based on my mind, but also on my heart. Yeah. So, and this is what will guide us a bit through the presentation today. So we will look at our digital workplace and looking at these two different aspects. So you mentioned Amadeus. Amadeus is a company. We are providing IT for, let's say, all the stakeholders in the travel business. So you can imagine it's not our best year today from the business side. But we are quite successful in this area, and we are, all the main player in the travel industry, they are our customers. We are maybe not so well known because it's a B2B business. So, but if you ever boarded a plane or you booked a seat in the flight, etc., you may have been using our software. And we are doing this globally, and we're having around 19,000 people working worldwide, so very dispersed, and it's very diverse also in Amadeus. So 150 nationalities, 60 languages. Main language is still English. Yeah, and as you can imagine, we are an IT company, and maybe not known, but the 9th biggest software producer in the world. So together with this Microsoft and the Google of the world, we are at place 9. So not surprisingly, 50% of our population is technical, so engineers, which has a certain flavor when it comes to digital workplace topics. Yeah, they have their own mind, let's say, when it comes to tooling. And what was also the case for us, that for remote working, as we all probably have to do it today, much more, it wasn't a new topic for us. So at least 30% of our teams were already working remote. We had the technology there, we knew how to use it. But still, so remote was normal for us, but we still see also the challenges that were coming with this remote working. And I think, Elena, you can guide us through these.
Yeah. Exactly. When we look at remote working, one of the things that we are very conscious about and we want to fight, and that's, the digital workplace is helping us on that, is on avoiding remoteness. And what do we mean by remoteness? And now we're going to be talking about emotions, right? We're going to be talking about that feeling that it's not disengagement, it's not, feeling distant from your team. You might be having an excellent work relation and be extremely engaged with your team, but little by little, really without noticing, if you don't work on avoiding this remoteness, you'll start getting distant from what the company is there for, from what is the strategy, from what is the purpose of the company, and from all those colleagues that you don't know. And this is something that we have seen exaggerated with Corona, when everyone had to go home and they were also a bit far away from the teams. You tend to get very close to your teams and to your day-to-day and what you have to do, and you tend to get a bit more distant with all those other topics that are very important in the long run for the company. And those are the strategy, the reason why we're here, what we're trying to achieve, and those other colleagues that you wouldn't know. And if you can go to the next one, what you find when you start falling into this remoteness is that you start losing that human interaction with a lot of other colleagues. And when you lose that human interaction, that human touch, you sort of can start losing a bit of the trust that you have in the rest of the colleagues or in the company. You start losing the ability to network beyond the people that you already know. And the problem with stopping networking with those people is that innovation is greatly diminished, because we all know that we tend to align our thoughts with the people that are close to us. So if we're not challenged to meet other people that are in completely different setups, and to discover other people beyond our immediate network, we're going to lose a lot of that innovation and that thinking. And also, of course, that constant learning that happens many times, on the corridors or when you get to meet each other. And absolutely the serendipity discovery. A lot of the things that are actually happening in the companies are through serendipity discovery in the water cooler places. So when you are in a remote setup, and you've got people that are working on their own on different countries, how do you make sure that you provide a workplace that can really compensate this remoteness?
Okay. And there was another factor. We already knew it, and you probably, you think about it, who has not enough collaboration tools in his company? Well, okay, we have to talk later. Yeah. When we are looking at the past years, I remember still the times where we had maybe a major release of a tool in the Microsoft stack, SharePoint every 3 years, a major release. Today, this has happened daily sometimes, or at least weekly. Yeah, so you have a lot of changes. You have also, when you look at the apps available on the market, it's an exponential growth of technology at the moment. Yeah, which is good on the one hand because it offers a lot of opportunities. On the other hand, what is the challenge is that we as people and organizations, we are not prepared to deal with this exponential change. Yeah, so we have what we see here, a kind of cognitive overload. And you remember my simple example from the genes. Now we mentioned this in this environment, how to make a choice of the best technology and which one fits to your need. So we are not prepared on our side, so on the human side, on the right skills, maybe the right tools, but the culture topic and how to connect with people, we are not there yet. So we crossed somehow this border that we are facing now, this exponential growth of technology. We see it coming here, but we are not ready on our side to really deal with it, which creates a lot of challenges. These challenges were already there pre-COVID. Yeah, I mean, we know it. Yeah, but at the end, so as well as remoteness, but COVID, of course, accelerated it. So it's becoming much more visible at the moment. So what we will talk in today about these two topics, you see the heart and the mind that I mentioned earlier. Talking about this topic of remoteness, we will be talking about creating a lovable workspace. Sounds crazy somehow, yeah, but it's really one of the thoughts we're having here in mind, and we will talk about the inner and outer loop, how we are going to bridge it. And then there's the cognitive overload, so how we are dealing with it. So what we are doing is about structuring a workplace, and it's increasing the topic of digital mastery. I remember yesterday we were also talking about it, how to get the people take the best out of these technologies. Yeah? And at the end for us, the question was that we're trying to answer, at least for us, is can our digital workplace, can it really compensate this remoteness and cognitive overload topic? So let's look first at the the cognitive part, and structure in the digital workplace. One of the most frequently asked questions I received in the past years, I have to say, is which tool should I use for what? Yeah. And the answer is usually, well, it depends. Yeah, because there is no blueprint, there is no absolute decision which tool fits best to your needs. Yeah, but what we realized as well, so as I said, I'm working in the digital workplace area, we need to understand what our tools can do and what is the structure of our digital workplace. So where do we put our different tools? So we were using, or we are still using, this layered approach. So looking at two, maybe familiar with this inner and outer loop topic. So inner loop is somehow your direct surroundings, your team, your personal space, and the outer loop is going beyond. Yeah, so it's on a company scale. So we were structuring this part. So we were looking at the personal tools, which are for individual productivity. You see on the right side examples of tools that we are using. You can easily see that we are Microsoft shop as well. So to do Outlook, typical individual productivity tools. Then what is very strong for us as a developer shop, team level tools. So working on a team, we have of course an agile organizations, all the Scrum teams, they are working together in a team structure. So those tools are pretty strong and are heavily used. MS Teams is one of the main ones, but also Confluence and others you can see here. And then we are coming to the tools that serve on the enterprise level. So we are using Yammer as our enterprise social network to communicate across the company. We are using Stream for video, Search as a hot topic at the moment, and SharePoint, for example, for document management. So this is our wider scope for the whole company. And then it comes, well, you need something to connect the dots, yeah, to bridge a bit between these tools. And this is our social intranet, which is called Neo. Yeah, it's also based on SharePoint plus an add-on. And here the goal is really to connect the company and to bridge the silos. So I'm trying to use not to break the silos, which is the common one, because I believe silos are very important for teamwork and for productivity. So, and they have a right really to exist. So bridging the silos makes for us much more sense. So this is the structure here that we are delivering. And some of the people, they really like it, and others, they cannot really connect to it. So the next step we did was somehow to provide something like this, a metro map, to show to our users, to our colleagues, well, it's a bit the same picture as you can see from left to right, the personal one, let's say, the inner loop on the personal one, the teams and projects, and the company side, and Neo as the connector in between, to explain to them, okay, where is the tool positioned? But then we said, well, how can I now connect? And we're using this sandwich analogy that you simply can ask questions. So for example, if I need to write to a sandwich shop and can you send me a sandwich? Well, I will probably use Outlook. Makes sense to send a mail. If I store my personal recipes, well, it will be in OneDrive. And this continues for the different areas. So in Teams is more the team-based communication. Hey, who wants to create a sandwich, etc. And we can go, I will not go through all of them, but you see, they're different, it puts you in a different context, and we try to make the people understand why this tool and in which context these tools make sense. And Neo is positioned here as, well, at the hub, so here you should be able to find all relevant information and to connect from there to the different spaces. Okay, so this was the metro map, which was one aspect of, let's say, helping the people to understand the structure. And then we did, of course, when we started to introduce Office 365 and now Microsoft 365, at the beginning we thought, well, it's another Microsoft release. Yeah, so we're just deploying it and we are good. And we realized quite fast, well, it's a game changer. Yeah, so I think now everybody somehow understands it much better. What is the potential of the cloud, using cloud applications, and also what Microsoft 365 can bring to you. And it's completely different ways of working that you're looking at. So when we're talking about digital transformation, it's not simply to automate something, so to digitalize maybe a process. It's really different ways of working. This is what's driving, for me, the digital transformation. So we had, of course, then invested a lot in adoption, yeah. And as usually with these adoption parts, to make the people understand what's happening there, you're often concentrating at the beginning, as we did, on the early adopters and maybe the early majority, because those are the people that will listen to you when you talk about the beginning. Now with COVID, we have a different situation, because now it's the paradise for change management, because now you have the urgency, and people who were normally, let's say, the late majority or even the laggards, they had to go to the platform, which brings us to a different problem. And this was, how are we able now to get our people to understand how they make best use of it? And it goes beyond the simple understanding of a functionality of a tool. Yeah. So what we did, we had in the past an event we called Academy, and this is what we did this year. Well, you may understand it's a virtual academy. So we had 2 weeks of sessions running through for the whole company, hosted via live events. So it's a bit the same setup that we're having here. 60 sessions, 14 speakers coming also from the business, which was important for us. So people showing their case to the others and show the value. And overall, we had 44,000 participants, which was a really great number for us. But we saw that there was a really need. And the topic we were focusing on, at the beginning, we didn't have these basic sessions in mind. But now when we realized, hey, we have this late majority, and they're asking questions like, what is the cloud? Yeah. So you have to step back and to explain to people, why does it make sense in the cloud? What is the advantage and what it's in for you with this? So we had a lot of basic sessions, tips and tricks, and also, let's say, pro sessions. So people who are really much more advanced in certain topics, and we could help them. All these sessions have been recorded, put in our user center, which is, let's say, the central place to manage all this information. And now we are going to promote it in the different channels that we are having and guide the people that they learn on it. So this is something that helped us. But it's one component of managing, of approaching this topic of digital mastery. But, and now I will hand over to Elena, there is, of course, the hard aspect that we need to look at.
Yeah. And one thing that was critical for us is that we made our digital workplace a lovable one. And it might sound fluffy, but it is not. It is very important for us to provide that space and that bridge between the inner loop and that outer loop. Let's look into this, because Hans-Jürgen was mentioning a minute ago, the inner loop, we've got, that is the collaboration within teams, right? The collaboration for projects, the collaboration with people that you know, with your immediate stakeholders. And when we launched Teams in Amadeus, we couldn't even have a pilot. We were trying to have a pilot, and everyone jumped to it so fast and so immediately that they had to open the tool for everyone to start using it immediately. The outer loop is a bit of a different story. It's a bit more difficult to get people engaged and to drive that level of adoption. And there's a good reason for that. And I don't think anyone should be expecting the same type of interaction between that you have in the inner loop that you have in the outer loop. For the outer loop, we're using Jammer, as Hans-Jürgen was explaining, and this is more for communities that are trying to build engagement or providing social support or trying to create communities of practice that help people learn one from each other, right? But we were having this question, everyone was asking us, and we were even, discussing ourselves, should we use the tool? What is the difference between Teams and Jammer? And to be very honest, until last year, we also had the question about, what is Microsoft going to do with Jammer? Are they really going to invest in it? But we truly believe that there was a big space for that, and that Jammer has a very relevant role in our digital ecosystem. Want to share how we explained the difference between Teams and Yammer because it might be useful for you to replicate it in your companies if you have the same question. Teams, as we were explaining, Teams for us, we explain it as it's like a party, okay? And the importance about being a party is that you have to be invited. Unless you're invited, you don't know it exists, and you will normally not crack into a party and start sort of participating and being very visible, right? Normally. And it's very loud, it's very noisy, it's very invasive, okay? So people expect very fast and immediate interactions in a party. Jammer, it's more like a mall or the market or the city plaza. That's very cultural depending on where you live. But it's more a place where you go to see what's going on, to do something, to find something, to meet different people. And you can meet people that you didn't know before. It's always open. You can decide when to go. And the expected response is not so fast. And this is very important because it's not intrusive. Okay, so basically with Teams, you're going to get someone sort of constantly knocking out your door and expecting an answer out of it. In Yammer, it's going to be more like when you have a minute, you know, there might be things going around here that are relevant for you that you want to participate. So it has, and while one is closed and you have to be invited and you tend to know the people around it, on Yammer, you will discover new people that you wouldn't meet otherwise or you wouldn't discover otherwise. And you can expand your network and find completely different points of view. So if you can click to the next one. So again, going back to the idea of having a really lovable workplace, it was very important for us to do our environment for and by the employee. So everything and anything that we designed and that we worked on, we did it, you know, at the time. It's great to see these photos. At the time, it was with physical workshops and interviews, and that helped us.
Oops, sorry.
Wow, you're clicking a lot.
I'm clicking the wrong direction. Even.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's okay. And that helped us create ourselves personas that will always guide our decisions. So we know who our employees are. We know what they expect. We know the difference between them. We know that our developers tend to be more focused on their projects and on solving problems on their day-to-day, while someone that is more a coordinator has a tendency to be networking far more, or, you know, what's the difference between a leader or an account manager or someone that is, you know, on the sales side. And we know what they need and what they're looking for in the digital workplace, and that's what we try to provide to them. And we don't try to provide the same experience to all, because that would never work. The other point that is very important to achieve a lovable workplace, in our opinion, is to understand that your digital workplace and the choice of tools and the choice of governance and how you decide to set things up is going to reflect your culture. The tools have a personality. They're going to invite you to do certain things, to do certain behaviors, or they're going to invite you not to do them. And that is, again, it's very important to understand that difference, because with your set of digital tools, we are trying to work with those people or for those people that might actually never go to the central sites and so on. So, okay, I'm a bit lost to what happened there. So anyway, can you click one more? Okay. So we were talking about, we've got the inner loop and we've got the outer loop, and we're going to work on how to bridge the two and make sure that they get connected. So if you can click one more, that is where the role of NEO, our social intranet, comes in place. And that will be the place where people can discover what's going on in the company, can reach all the communication, can participate in the conversation as well. They can find all the available learning, and that is informal learning or formal learning, I don't care, and can access to all the knowledge that they need on their day-to-day. And that is now, but I want to, if you can click one more, I want to show it to you, because what we feel is very important about what we have developed with NEO is that it is completely personalized. We don't try to provide one single experience for the employee. We want their employee to own their experience. So pretty much every single page in Neo is personalized to make sure that although we have a lot of content in there, it becomes relevant, whether you are a developer or you're a salesperson or you are a coordinator or you're a leader to the company. And each of these boxes that you see in the screen will be different depending on who you are. The other relevant thing about Neo is that we want to make sure that it is social in the sense that you can connect and discover your different colleagues. So increase your network in a way that you didn't, that you couldn't do it before. Although I have to say there's still a lot of work to do on this area for us. It is very important for us to increase this discoverability. And that is why we've got quite a sophisticated knowledge management solution behind, where the whole idea is that the content that is relevant for you is going to look for you rather than you having to look for the content. So we are creating pages that are targeted to our employees and that are trying to respond to what they need at that specific moment. And again, we are trying to reflect our culture because we feel that many people will access or will connect to our culture through the digital workplace, and it's a key channel to ensure that they still connect with our purpose and what we're trying to achieve. If you can click one more, you can see scrolls down and you can personalize your experience. Maybe click one more, Hans-Jürgen, please. So so we've been talking about we're fighting remoteness, we're fighting cognitive overload. We feel we're very mature in providing a solution for the inner loop. We feel quite mature now with our bridge with Neo. It's working very well, but as I said, we still have quite a bit of work to do with the outer loop. With Yammer. We do have some good examples, and Hans-Jürgen is going to talk a bit about them, but I think that is our next big challenge, is how to get people to understand and connect and participate on the outer loop.
Yeah, so the outer loop is for us mainly now Yammer. We're trying to make use of Yammer, so we're doing it already. Well, as Elena explained, we were a bit, let's say, stopping the evolution of Yammer because we didn't know exactly where Neo is heading us. Yeah, but now we see which place Neo is able to take, and we see that we are something missing. Yeah, and this part will be filled with Yammer, which is our enterprise social network. So we organize, for example, all our support behind the tool. Office 65 is organized community-based, so using Yammer. So people asking questions and people answering questions. So it's not only the IT teams that you raise a ticket and then only the IT teams answer the question. Now we are trying to put a community here in place, which is working quite well, I have to say. Yeah, and there are a lot of examples of these community-based approaches that we are trying to empower and to help the users. A major role here is playing community managers. So this is something we're going to focus on the next year, because all the successful community that we see, they have certain criteria, and one, I think maybe the most important one, is a community manager who's taking care of them. And then what we saw as well, which makes us really thinking about how we can make use of Yammer, especially in this time, was this example that I'm going to show to you. So this was a VP in our area, and she detected Yammer for herself. Yeah, and then these are some quotes from an interview that she gave, and she told us, well, I'm not specifically social, so she's not using Facebook or whatever the other tools, and she's also not the networker. Yeah, but she detected this platform for her, and what the first thing that she was doing was sharing. And the criteria for her to share was, well, I thought this is important. So if I believe this can be of interest for something, I start sharing. Yeah. So she has no big plan of what to share and whatever. She just did it. Yeah. So everything that she found, she put it, and then she saw, well, this is for sharing. It's much better than mail. Yeah. So we have already here somebody who's leading by example in reducing the mail, because, well, we all should know now that knowledge is going to die somehow in mails. And very interesting for us, she was looking at leadership skills. Yeah, so for her it said, well, you need to be able to listen, and Yammer as a platform offers you the possibility to listen. You don't need to be present. I'm there, I'm looking what my people are discussing, and then I can jump in if I believe it makes sense. Yeah, and we were talking yesterday also about leadership. I remember it's for her, it's not about the people, the number of people that report to you, so based on the hierarchy. It's much more to get in contact with people and to, well, also to somehow lead by example and to earn the leadership topic. So this is something we're going to build on. It's one of our most interesting use cases. Lucky us, we're having some more. Yeah, and to work on Yammer. So coming back to the initial question that we asked for us. So can a digital workplace help us in overcome remoteness and this cognitive overload? And we believe it can. Yeah, so we can with a digital workplace, we can compensate these topics, but we also realize that we will never be able to fully reach it. Yeah, so it's a constant journey that we're looking at. And what we also realize, it's not enough to focus on the brain. So of course we need to give a structure, of course we need to explain functionality, but it's much more important to look at adoption, to get connected to the people and to get to their heart. And maybe Elena, you talk about the next ones.
Yeah, the second one is about choosing your tools as if you're hiring your next VP. And the reason why we say this is because many times we choose tools based on functionalities, but tools and the setup you choose to have and you decide to have along with your governance and your rules will actually demonstrate the culture that you have in the company, will reflect the culture. So same way as when you're hiring a VP, you don't look only into their skills and their experience, you also look into if they will have a good fit for the company from a cultural perspective. Do the same with your tools and do the same with your digital workplace setup. Choose it, making sure that it is reflecting the culture and the behaviors that you want it to reflect. And finally, design as if we were never going to see each other again. Because we will, of course we will, and you guys are the proof that we will soon be seeing each other again. But when you design thinking that we will not see each other again, then you start to think about all the emotional support that the digital workplace needs to provide. And that it's not just providing, knowledge or what the brain needs. It's also about providing the ability to get in touch beyond your immediate network, to align with the purpose of the company, to engage with the company, and it's a very critical tool to connect the brain and the heart of your company.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.